Hey, Nicole here,
Michelle.
from Locey Swim Spa, and today we're going to show a video on how to winterize your above ground pool. Before we go through all these steps, it's important to make sure your pool is clean and vacuumed before you start lowering your water, and that you've tested your water levels, those being chlorine, pH, or bromine if you're a bromine pool, and pH, your standard levels for your type of pool.
Just get it in balance.
Very important.
First step, remove any ladders or steps that you have. Now, if you have walk-in steps, you will probably find it easier if you get in the pool and lift them out, reduce the chance of damaging your pool. And then again, either one, steps or ladders, just make sure you wipe them off real good and let them dry out in the sun and store them wherever you have room. Step 2, lower your water about 4 to 6 inches below the bottom of the skimmer plate.
Okay, so the next step, step 3, is to drain your pump and filter. Consists of taking off the drain cap here. This is a sand filter. There's other styles of filters out there, cartridge and DE, but this is a sand filter. So you take the drain cap off there, and you're also going to be removing some pump plugs as well. You might have one, you might have two of the plugs. Each manufacturer is different, so just see what you guys have and make sure you remove those plugs so you don't have any water freezing up in there in the wintertime and crack your housing. Ideally, if you have room and you can move your equipment, you'd want to store it inside, like in the garage or wherever you have some space. Sand filters, pretty much you just kind of want to leave outside and then just cover them with something, a tarp, something like that, just to keep the elements off of it. But if you can move your equipment inside, do so. And if you have a DE filter, diatomaceous earth, what you're going to want to do is after you've backwashed your filter, lowered your water, you want to get to the internal part of your filter and take out the internal part and soak it in a filter clean solution, such as this or whatever favorite you have. And then you want to soak it, clean it off with a garden hose, nozzle on the end of a garden hose, and then mix up your solution, soak it overnight, rinse your filter again, and then let it dry out, and then you can clean the inside of your tank out and make sure everything's dry before you seal it up. You can even leave the equipment cracked a little bit so you don't get mildew over the winter.
Step number 5, remove all hoses from pool to equipment and equipment to pool. Keep them nice and happy, stored inside somewhere where they won't have frozen water cracking the plastic. Step number 6, remove your return fitting and then replace it with a winter plug. Safe, happy, and winterized.
A little tip, if you have this style return, okay, it does come apart. You grab it by the lock ring here. When you undo that, this will fall out, the eyeball part will fall out. This essentially is still in your pool wall, okay? So if this part does not come out, you can't use a threaded plug, okay? Because it's the same threads, the same size, so you'll just be spinning into nothing and it won't go. So you have to remove this. If this is jammed up in there, the pool's old, it could be a new pool even. There's a little notch here and a plastic tool that you put in to remove this out of the wall, therefore letting your threaded plug fit in the wall nicely. I prefer the threaded plug style. If you can't get this out of the wall, you're just simply using a black rubber expandable plug, which I'll show you in just a moment. So if you can't use the threaded plug, this is the black rubber expandable plug I was mentioning earlier here, and you just place that, this will be pool wall, and he's going water side, okay, into the return hole. So you can use one of these, just tighten it down and it will expand out and make a nice seal. So that's one of 2 ways you can close the return off. Okay, now step 7, we're going to be removing the skimmer basket from your skimmer, okay? Tap out all the bugs, get all the creepy crawlies out of there, and then store that in a spot where you're going to remember that you put it, so springtime you can find it easily. You do place your lid back on though, okay? Now, you leave the bottom hole of your skimmer free and open. You do not want to plug it, okay, with anything. So do not use plugs in an above ground pool skimmer. In-ground pools, all day long use them. So you don't want to do something like this or that, because if you get water in the skimmer, what's going to happen if it's plugged, water has nowhere to go when we thaw, and then it will crack the skimmer body potentially. So we like to leave the hole on the bottom open, free and clear, so if water gets in, it can go right out. Now, there are fun little gadgets like these skimmer plugs where you don't have to drain your water down as far, or if you just want to make extra insurance so you don't freeze up, you can take this and it presses in front of the skimmer, closing off the skimmer opening, okay? This is an extra item, you don't have to have it, but a lot of people do like to use them.
Get him pushed right in there, nice and good.
Step number 8, if you have any underwater lighting in your pool, make sure you remove that as per manufacturer's instructions. And then step number 9, you can add an air pillow. This guy's not blown up yet, but once he's blown up, you can either get a 4x4, 4x8 air pillow. What you do is you put this guy in the middle of the pool. This helps secure your winter cover, helps support the winter cover. It also helps siphon water to the sides so it doesn't overload your cover. A side note, now for all my DIYers out there who like to get creative and a little crafty, and they want to do something other than investing in one of these little easy pillows here, we don't recommend using, say, a tire. We've heard of that. That's bad. That's going to leave a nice big black ring around your beautiful blue pool, and we don't want that. Other things used, skimpy air wraps and such just seem to kind of deflate pretty quickly and don't do what they're there for. Just a side note, just saying.
All right, step 10. If you guys have a heater, if you have a gas heater, you're gonna find a pressure switch inside the cabinet here, okay? Which usually you just have to remove 2 screws up here, and the cabinet will pull out, okay? Yours might look like this. This just has little brass knobs to adapt to your heater. This is a universal pressure switch. This is a Hayward branded one. You want this removed from the inside of the heater cabinet, okay? What can happen if you don't is water can build up in the line, and then you can, freeze and crack your heater. So remove that if you have one. If you guys have what's a lot of people are turning to now is the electronic version of a heater. This is a Hayward one. So your electronic version works off of a glow plug as opposed to a standing pilot flame, so you don't have to worry about removing the pressure switch with that. What I recommend is cleaning out the inside of the heater cabinet with like a broom or shop vac or something, just to get the dirt, leaves, whatever's accumulated over the summer, grass clippings, and then put an open box of mothballs in there, just kind of slip it in the cabinet, or for my naturalists out there, you can take some peppermint oil and dab it on a cotton ball and then place those strategically on the inside of the cabinet. I can also actually use peppermint on the cotton ball trick to put in your solar cover. If you guys use a solar cover, you can put that in there for storage so the mice don't get into the cabinet or your cover, because mice do not like the smell of mint. Okay, so we're adding some chemicals now. This is towards the end of our closing routine, okay? Just going around the pool and just distributing mineral clear right now. That's to protect the pool over the winter from mineral staining and such. And then we're gonna add some algicide. You definitely want to put some algicide in the pool to keep algae at bay and keep the pool opening up nice. And then you're gonna do a little bit of granular chlorine, again distributing around the pool. Shaking all your powders. And then the same thing with your shock. Ours happens to be in a handy pouch. It might come in a bottle, whatever you guys like to use. And then you'll put it in the pool, like that. And then those are your main chemicals. So you got mineral clear, an algicide, shock, and chlorine for our chlorine and bromine pools to close, okay? Next, we're going to put the winter cover on the pool, and there's a couple different styles of covers out there. This one here that I'm showing is just a traditional green-black cover, pretty good tight weave, and then your cable and your winch, okay? So when you put your cable through, it's kind of like a sewing needle and thread. So you're going to go through your grommet up and down, just like you're sewing. When you get to the end, you're going to have this tight. You're going to want to put your cable through the winch here, okay? And then you tighten that down. As I just tighten that down, that takes this around and cinches it around the pool. And you'll probably have some leftover cable dangling. That's okay. You can always wrap it up or cut a little bit off. You always want to have some extra though, and tuck it away so it's not whipping against the pool in the winter if you have high winds where you're at. And then another cover we're going to demonstrate is an Enviro Mesh cover. It actually lets water through, so it's not getting a lot of water buildup on the cover during the fall and winter months.
And this is where you tighten it up here with the winch, as Jim will demonstrate. Easy breezy.
Okay, so pretty much this is our environmental style mesh cover for our above ground pool. The difference between this one and our traditional standard style is this one has little holes in it that lets the water go through it, so you don't have to more or less fill your pool up over the period of time. It fills up over the winter by itself. The traditional green one, you have to periodically pump it off because it deposits water on it. This one is a little bit more than the traditional one, but in my opinion, it's worth it. And then also one last benefit with this particular one, this particular cover is 4 years old. The traditional one would last 2 years or so.
Okay, step 11. Now that you've got the cover on and everything put to bed, you're going to want to look out at your pool occasionally. Don't forget that she's there over the winter, and see if there's any water buildup on the cover. With this cover, we just talked about the Enviro Mesh cover, you're not going to have to worry about the water buildup because it's letting the water through. If you have your traditional style cover, green, black cover, blue, black, whatever color, that does build up water, you want to occasionally keep your eye on it and pump off the water as needed. You can grab your Little Wayne, or you can use for my above ground pools. This gadget's awesome. It's one of my favorite tools for above ground pools to get the water off the cover. This is weighted with sand, so this disc is kind of slightly heavy, and then you just place the disc either in the middle of the pool, around the edges wherever your water's at. So that's in the pool. And then there's a nice clear tubing that comes with it. Okay, and then you start just with an quick and easy hand siphon, and that starts the water pumping out, and it just drains out of the pool. So it's a very simple gadget, and I like it because it doesn't run on electricity or batteries or anything. It's just human powered, so that's why that's my favorite one. It is available to ship if you guys are interested. It is listed on our website, or you can give us a call, order it that way over the phone. And if you want to add a little bit of magic to that winterizing routine, the winter pill is awesome. What it is it's an enzyme, it's a liquid inside this ball, and you pierce the ball, and we'll demonstrate that in a minute here, and it slowly releases the liquid over the winter time, and that helps with ring around the pool, I call it, that dirt line that kind of builds up. And it also eats up organics and such. It's a great product. It's in addition to your chemicals. Don't think that this is the end-all be-all one thing you add to your pool. So this is in addition to your chemical routine for winterizing. And then after you add your chemicals, you put the ball in. Usually you put the pill in before you put your cover on, but hey, I've got a weak point here in this cover I can utilize to show you guys how to do it, okay? So what we're gonna do, the ball has what I call the belly button, and I'm going to pierce him with the included piercing tool, okay? So you're going to just pierce this little belly button there, all right? And then on the front of the pill, there's little divots. There's divots all around here, you guys, but don't do all the divots, okay? You're just going to want to do 2 of the divots. So I kind of pick what I call the dimples, one on each side of the winter pill name, okay? So we're going to pierce that. And then we're going to pierce this little dimple here. All right. And we're going to throw the ball in. Literally, you can just pitch him in, okay? And you're done. He's going to float around all winter and just release that chemical slowly. If you are living in a climate where it's going to freeze up, he'll freeze up with that ice. And then when he thaws, he'll thaw out and start releasing liquid again. And then you just fish out that plastic ball with just like your net or something, whatever accessory you have, to just fish out the empty. It should be empty by springtime. So you just fish that out and throw it away, and then that's it. So thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Subscribe to our channel or whatever you do, and We'll see you next time.